In June of 2016, during LGBT Pride Month, Omar Mateen killed 49 people and wounded about 53 people in a gay club in Orlando, Florida. It was said to be the worst terrorist attack in America. Well, any wide-awoke individual knows that statement is an outright lie. Never mind the following American-bred terrorist acts against black people, like the Negro Fort Massacre on July 27, 1816 in Florida. The explosion instantly killed 270 black men, women, and children of the 330 residents. The remaining 60 residents were mortally wounded. The attack on the fort was sanctioned by General Andrew Jackson at the time. But never mind that as being one of the worst terrorist acts on American soil. What about the Elaine, Arkansas race massacre? Oh no, it wasn't a riot. It was an outright massacre. Check this out.
Events of the past change with time and perspective. Historians are now taking a closer look at one of the state's most tragic events. It is a chapter of history that few people know about or even understand. In tonight's All About Arkansas, Steve Powell recounts the frightening last days of September 1919 in the small Delta town of Elaine, Arkansas.
It's hard to imagine tougher times, but here it's been worse, much worse.
Historically, this was just about the worst thing that could have happened in the United States.
Author Griff Stockley is one of the state's preeminent scholars on race relations. He believes what happened in Elaine some 87 years ago may be the bleakest moment in Arkansas's racial history. A group of mostly black sharecroppers held a union meeting. Many whites opposed the union and the emerging black empowerment movement. A few showed up outside the church. What happened next was a firestorm. Blacks
outnumbered whites 9-1 in that part of the county. And whites began to panic, thinking that blacks were going to, quote, revolt.
The papers of the day fueled the panic. Angry whites descended on Elaine by the hundreds. The result, according to Stockley, was no riot. It was a massacre.
100-person to 1,000-person posse that came in and just literally began to shoot blacks.
Stockley says hundreds of African Americans had been killed.
If I'm right about the number of people killed, it represents the worst racial violence in the United States that's ever occurred.
5 whites died too. In the aftermath, blacks were arrested by the dozens. 12 were hastily sentenced to die in the electric chair.
We know that hundreds of African Americans were killed in Elaine, but in fact there was not a single white who was charged for the murder of any of them.
Over 800 black people were slaughtered from September the 30th through October the 1st, 1919. Why? Because they wanted a union and better pay. And this is just a smidgen of untold history of this country, along with the biased media reporting industry. The reason for the massacre of these hard-working Hebrews defies justice, even morality, simply because of the inherent fears of the white oppressor. Such is the lot of the United States of America. Lies, lies, and more lies, coupled with deception and classical conditioning. Now, the gay club shooting in Florida back in 2016 was reported as the worst shooting on American soil. I think we have briefly debunked that lie. Mind manipulation is the menu nowadays. Social media, personal computer, cell phones, implanted microchips inside humans, and on and on. Technology has helped to desensitize the inhabitants of planet Earth. The word of Yahweh, the Most High Elohim Yah, and the Ruach of Mashiach is rejected in a world that prides itself of their sinful ways. People have become glued to the mass message of biased media coverage and compelling lost, wandering sheep to be influenced by the lies of the media and the racist acts of high-profile political leaders. The greatest calamities that have occurred in the Bible left no time for mourning and prayer. The judgment of the Most High, Elohim Yah, is the part of the Bible that most Christian churches and Christians by and large hate to read or think about. But if you believe the word of Yahweh, the Most High Elohim Yah, you must believe his word is true.